All right, so for the lecture, this is chapter 9. As always, I'm going to be reading this. If you want to, you can go on your own pace and read the chapter on your own. I'll be reading this chapter with the mouse cursor. All right, it's chapter 9, State of Emergency. South Africa was going bankrupt. Bankrupt means losing money because so many foreign business forming Southside will have nothing to do with the country. Riots broke out regularly, so the government made some changes. That means in South Africa. They desegregated public buses. Desegregate means the opposite of segregation. That means instead of separating, they're gonna put together. And theaters and gave some townships electricity. They let Indian and in the government, but not in the chamber of parliament. Parliament is like the Congress, the ones who make laws that represent the white citizens. Many African voters were angry at the changes, while many non-whites didn't see much of a difference. Nelson Mandela did see a difference in his own life. In April 1982, Mandela was moved to the Postmer prison near Cape Town for the first. Hold on. For the time, in decades, he had been in bed. Many believe Mandela had been moving in order to separate him from most of his Robben Island friends. This way, Mandela couldn't have much influence, couldn't cause as much trouble. The president of South Africa said he was willing to free Nelson if he came out against violence as a way of ending apartheid. Okay, and this is very, very important. This will be a part of your question. When Mandela heard the offer, he wrote out his answer and gave it to his daughter, Zindi. She read it in a crowded stadium in Soweto. It was the first time that Mandela's words had been heard largely legally in public since he had been sent to prison. Mandela wrote, "Only free men can negotiate. Prisoners cannot enter into contracts. Your freedom and mine cannot be separated. Nelson will not accept freedom if it required him to support apartheid in any way." Let's hold on. In September 1989, 53-year-old F.W. de Klerk was elected president of South Africa. Although he was a Nat party leader, de Klerk had promised to negotiate with the ANC to solve South Africa's problems. De Klerk had Sisulu and others released from Robben Island. He had Mandela brought to meet with him in December. 2 months later, de Klerk announced the ANC was no longer an illegal group. Then he made an even bigger announcement. Nelson Mandela was going to be released from prison. Okay. All right, so that concludes the chapter. Is really short. As I mentioned, this part is going to be key to be able to answer the question on the assignment. Okay, so with that concludes the lecture part. If you have any questions, please contact me through Teams.